Hi guys, so today I'm going to be doing my March wrap up showing you all the books that I read in the month of March. So without further ado, let's get started. The first book I actually started reading in February and I finished in March, and it was Evil Genius by Catherine Jinks. I don't have it here because it's currently packed away because I am moving, as well as a couple of books I won't actually have to show you because they're already packed away, but some of them I will be able to show you too. Anyway, I did finish Evil Genius and I rated it 3 stars. I actually quite enjoyed it. It was like a nice middle grade kind of book and it was really different. It was about a boy who is very young and he gets sent to an evil genius college where they're learning to take over the world. And his father, who's one of the most evil geniuses of the world, actually runs the college, and he's kind of put in a predicament of whether this is a good college or not. The next book I read was The Duff by Cody Kleplinger. I wanted to read this one before I saw the movie and I really enjoyed it and I rated it 4 stars. It follows a girl named Bianca who finds out by her arch nemesis Wesley that she's apparently the Duff of her group. The Duff meaning the designated ugly fat friend. And Bianca is really hurt by this news, discovering that she's the Duff and why she's kind of toying with this idea of being the Duff and how she feels about that. Her home life isn't so great. And so to distract herself and everything, Wesley and Bianca end up kissing. And for Bianca, this kiss kind of turns into this great distraction for her. And the kissing ends up to being a little bit more until Bianca and Wesley start to have an enemies with benefits kind of relationship thing. And it's all working out very well until Wesley starts opening up to her and Bianca has to realize that maybe her enemy isn't actually her enemy. As I said, I really did like it for the most part, and if you would like to hear my full thoughts and feelings, you can check out my review, which should be coming out shortly. After The Duff, I picked up Maybe Someday by Colleen Hoover. This was my first young adult novel that I have ever read and I absolutely loved it, and I rated it between a 4.5 and a 5 stars. It is about a girl named Sydney who has a pretty fantastic life until she discovers that her boyfriend and her best friend have been cheating on her. Sydney distraught punches them both in the face and then decides to move out, and then she realizes that she's homeless and she ends up living with the boy next door. She'd never really talked to the boy next door before, but they start to get along really well, except a little bit too well. The issue is Sydney's just come out of this really long relationship where she's just been cheated on, and the boy is actually in a relationship and he's been in a relationship for 5 years. So for them to have this chemistry, it's not really working out and it's not really the right time for it. So it's about them fighting the obvious attraction between them and seeing if they can actually, like, what happens with their relationship because of this. I really liked this book and I really liked how the relationship was portrayed. I really liked how Sydney was my age. I just really like the young adult genre in general, and I really like this one, and I'm super excited to pick up more of Colleen Hoover's works because I really enjoyed it. I have reviewed Maybe Someday already and it is up on my channel, so if you would like to hear my full thoughts and reviews, I will leave that down below. And then I picked up Lunch in Paris, A Delicious Love Story of Recipes by Elizabeth Bard, and I rated this one 2 stars. It's actually a memoir from what I can tell, and it was really weird, to be honest. The recipes were an interesting touch. They would be scattered throughout the book and they were okay, but like I generally skip them because they're really long and complicated and expensive recipes and I'm not going to cook them. And the book itself was just average at best. Elizabeth herself kind of really annoyed me, and that's really weird because she is a weird person, but she'd find herself being really hypocritical and stuff like that, and I just didn't enjoy it at all. So this one was unfortunately a flop for me and I will be getting rid of it. I wanted something completely different after Lunch in Paris, so I picked up The Black Echo by Michael Connelly. I picked this one up at an op shop for like $5 and it was okay. Again, I ended up rating it 2 stars. It's about a homicide detective who gets a call one evening and he discovers a body in a local drain. People want to put it down as an OD, but this detective thinks that it's something more sinister than this, and he goes on discovering if it was something a little bit more sinister than just an OD. This was a typical crime novel filled with all the cliches that you generally find in a crime novel. He ended up working with a female partner, which of course he got together with, and then at the end it didn't work out. He liked coffee and smoking. We all know what happens in the end. Of course he was right, and of course he gets a fucking pat on the back, and I didn't really feel it. I find that when I do pick up a crime novel, the cliches are all too familiar for me and I just can't really move past them enough to really and fully enjoy them. So this one was unfortunately another miss for me. And then I have, which I don't have to show you because they are packed away, The Carrie Diaries and Summer in the City by Candice Bushnell. They are the prequels to the Sex and the City TV series, which I really love. It's like a guilty pleasure of mine, and I rated each book 3 stars. They were okay, nothing fancy. They were just generally okay. They weren't as good as the TV show. They were interesting though, and as a fan of the TV show, I did think it was interesting. I know that there is a TV show, I think, of the Carrie Diaries that it's based on, so I will be checking out the TV series and seeing if I like it a little better than the book. And then because I went to the library this month, I borrowed out this book, Dog Boy by Eva Hornen, and I absolutely loved it, and I rated it 5 stars, and it is one of my new favourite books, and I will definitely be picking up a copy of myself to own because it was so fantastic and I loved it. I have done a review on it and it's not out yet, but when it is, you should check it out. But it is about a boy named Romika. And Romika is abandoned by his family, and when he realises that his family isn't coming out, he goes onto the streets to try and survive. He's only very young, about 3 years of age, let's say. And when he's on the streets trying to find food and shelter to survive, he sees this big yellow dog and he decides to follow the dog. And things lead to one thing and another, and he starts living with these dogs. As years pass, Romika actually starts turning into something a little less than human, something a little wilder. He's not exactly a dog, but yet he's not exactly a human. He's been living with dogs for the majority of his life. It's about basically Romika's story and about him living with these dogs, and actually about him then maybe coming back into human society and how he deals with that. It's a heartbreaking, intriguing, beautiful novel which I absolutely love, and it was written fantastically. I would highly recommend you check this one out if it sounds interesting to you. And then I read Poison Study by Miri V. Snyder, which is the first book in a series. I had never heard of this series until recently, and I picked it up and I absolutely loved it, and I rated it 5 stars. It was so good. It's about a girl named Yelena who is going to be hanged for murder. But on the day that she's to be hung, she is given the choice of whether she wants to be hung and obviously die, or if she wants to become the poison taster for the commander. Yelena decides that she doesn't want to die just yet, so she chooses to become the poison taster. But obviously that life is not going to be the greatest, and she could die at any time. It's about Yelena's struggles about becoming a poison taster and her adventures and such, and it's fantastic. Yelena's such a really strong and empowering female character, and I absolutely loved everything about this book. From the plot to the characters to the storyline, everything was really good. Everything fit into place really well, and Yelena was such an empowering, strong character that you really wanted to just go out and kick some ass after reading this book. There's also a little bit of romance in this book, however it takes a backseat to the story and is not important at all, and it doesn't override it, and I absolutely love that about the book. If you have not picked up this series yet but you've been wanting to, I would highly recommend that you do so because it was just fantastic. After Poison Study, I wanted to pick up Assassin Study, which is just a short story which goes in between Poison Study and Magic Study, the second book in the series. So it's like 1.5 in the series, and I rated that one 2 stars. It was only very short and I was kind of distracted while reading it, and it was just okay. I really wanted to have a proper novel though, and I really don't like really short stories, which this one was. After that, I did pick up the second book in the series, Magic Study. Again, it was really fantastic, and I rated it a 4.5 stars. I can't really tell you anything about the plot in this one because obviously it is part of series and it will spoil the series for you. And then after Magic Study, I read Fire Study by Miri V. Snyder, the 3rd book in the series, again, which I can't tell you anything about because it would spoil the series for you. But these books are honestly so good, and I would highly recommend you check them out. And then after that book, it was the end of March and on to April, so that concludes my March wrap up. In total, I read 12 books, which was kind of slow for me because I've been moving in the midst of moving, as you guys know, so it's been really hectic for me, and I've started uni, so I didn't read as much as I would have liked, but all in all, I still feel like I had a pretty good reading month. I definitely found some new favourites to add to my favourite shelf, so it is a definitely thumbs up. I would love to know in the comments below what your favourite read of the month was. Mine was either Dog Boy or Poison Study, or even maybe Someday. I honestly can't choose. I just had so many good books I read this month. And like this video if you liked it, and subscribe if you'd like to see more book related videos from me, and I'll see you next time. Okay, bye!